garden party. They all knew my name. No one recognized me. I didn't look the same, but it's all right now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
5 minutes, make it 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Carolyn Baldwin is in the studio. It's time to begin her show. You've Got a Garden.
Good morning, Larry.
Video camera going.
Yeah, there's cameras all over the place. It's a little freaky.
Make it a video, plus, of course, the normal video that we always do. How you doing?
Oh, doing well. If I sound a little funny, I don't know if I have allergy or a cold or whatever,
yeah.
But my nose has been acting up for about a week and a half now, and it's not been fun.
Somebody who works with so many different powders and mixtures, I mean, you must... I'm guessing you're immune to almost everything.
Well, except I don't know what I'm exactly allergic to, except that when it rains, in the early spring, when all the pollen is out there, I am affected very, very much so, and it's not fun. So, anybody who has allergies, I really need to sit down and get the raw honey and do the raw honey thing see if it'll actually get me some more relief, because I never used to be this allergic to stuff. I don't know. It's they say things change in your system.
You sound like you have something going on.
Yeah,
do you feel like it?
No,
not really.
No, not really. No, one day last week I was a little groggy, kind of thing, but I work hard. So if you come home from work tired, you kind of expect it, especially if you've got a stuffy nose. And so, but otherwise, it's all going good. The weather, it was supposed to be chilly this morning, and it was.
Yeah, I would
now
call
it feels
chilly.
like it's warming up, and it's kind of okay. Would it make up its mind for me, please?
Well, the funny thing is, because we speak to people all over the country and the world. You say, oh, it's a little chilly here. They go, what do you mean by chilly? And then you tell them, and they laugh.
Well, that was last
your guest
week.
Did that last week. That's right. Yeah.
Right. Paul James last week is when I'm complaining it was 62 degrees, and he's going, what?
All right, looks like you have a phone call.
Super.
And, by the way, everybody's invited to call Carolyn. I neglected to tell you the phone number. It is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. Good morning. You're on the air with Carolyn.
Good morning, Carolyn. It's Eileen. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. I haven't called for quite a while because I had to change the schedule, but I do have something that we have a mutual friend who went to a lady's house for a garage deal or whatever, and a yard sale, and she saw the lady's garden. The garden was so beautiful, the rose garden. It was so perfect. So she asked the lady what her secret was, and the lady said, she gave this recipe, and I would like your opinion on it. A can of beer, a half a cup of detergent, and a half a cup of mouthwash, and you put it in a gallon sprayer, but she didn't say how much water. So
it would be to fill up the sprayer would be what it would.
Pardon me?
It would probably be what was left to fill up a 1-gallon sprayer.
Okay. So... have you heard of a recipe sort of like this?
Those sound like some of Jerry Brown's. To me, that's what that is alcohol, is the mouthwash. Dish soap you have to be very careful with, because a couple tablespoons can be the difference between an insecticide and a herbicide. So, extreme caution with that kind of stuff. And the beer, basically, there's carbohydrates in there. And excuse me? I said with the beer, I'm not real sure where that works on some of these things, except that maybe it encourages some natural bacteriums that are beneficial to begin to occur. But with some of those kind of things, it's alcohol, which is a pesticide or can be a pesticide.
Right.
It's also somewhat of a disinfectant. You would that if you're going to, when you're pruning plants, they recommend in between plants of cleaning the blades on your pruners to prevent spreading disease. Right. So what you've got there is just a little bit of a fungal thing, but if I'm going to go through and I'm going to buy all of those different products, why don't I just go out and buy something like a neem oil
But this is stuff that most of us have in our house anyway.
Well, but you're using it a cup at a time.
That's
and so each month you're buying extra of those. When I can go and I can buy one item, stick it in my garden shed, and I have it there.
So you're recommending what in place?
I prefer personally just using what is actually manufactured for use on plants. The neem, the systemics. And, you take care of a problem when you see a problem. We do have with roses in Florida, you can get a serious black spot issue, and that's your biggest problem. That and flower thrips. The soap is doing the thrips on that stuff. And all of these can be used. I don't know, to take the half a can of beer or whatever it is and all of that and mix all this up, and you've got to use that up pretty much, or they probably get kind of icky in those sprayers. You're dumping out whatever's left, because I can't see that really.
But if I were to try it, it would be for probably at least a gallon of water.
That would more than likely take, whatever that mixture was is probably into a gallon of water. How much soap were they recommending?
I think it was a half a cup.
I would put no more than 2 tablespoons of dish soap in there.
Yeah.
Because that much soap, you could totally defoliate your plants.
Detergent, would you take that to mean laundry detergent?
No, it would probably be dish detergent.
Yeah.
But laundry detergent's probably even worse.
Yeah, but not even strong, right?
Yeah, just because of the other ingredients that are in the detergent. But you need to use a very mild dish detergent.
Like Dawn, right?
The original.
Yeah.
And it was years ago, we didn't even recommend that. It used to be Ivory, or something that wouldn't wash a dish.
Something that doesn't save from grease.
Yeah, the one that doesn't have the degreaser. You don't want an antibacteria. You don't want them scented necessarily, because all of these are ingredients that can damage the plant.
Okay, what are you recommending for black spot commercially?
Commercially, any of the disease controls that you can buy. You can get Daconil still. There's a couple of the name brands that all just have their disease control or fungus control. Neem oil will work. Neem you just have to be real careful with, because it is an oil, and as we begin to get hotter, it is a little harder to use.
But neem oil is good for black spot.
Neem oil is good. It's any oil.
Right.
Will take care of a fungus, because what it does is it coats it.
Okay.
It coats that fungus and prevents those spores from spreading. The leaves that are already damaged will never get better, no matter what you use.
Right, yeah.
But if you can do it as a preventative, personally, I don't necessarily have to go to an organic, but if I don't have to spray, if I can use a systemic that I put down once every month and a half, then I'm not out there spraying once a week.
There are systemics for the black spot.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, my roses are looking perfect.
Right.
And I'd like to,
try to keep them that way.
Preventive on them also.
That would be the systemic. Would be more of a preventative.
Right. Okay. All right. I'll let you go. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
And it looks like you have another phone. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, I was just going to say, we've talked about them before, that, there's all kinds of little home remedies and things like that, and concoctions and things like that. I'm not sure, I don't think any of these that you can actually pinpoint which parts of them really work well. It's true that dish soap is an insecticide. You do need to be very careful how much you use, because it is a matter of just a small quantity before you go between insect killer and plant killer and an herbicide. You will, or the type of soap that you use. Rubbing alcohol, yes, that's a great insecticide. I've usually used that more of on a small scale on house plants, where you're putting a little spritzer bottle or a little dish, and you got a cotton ball, and you're cleaning off on some of your more sensitive plants, maybe like an orchid or some of your house plants, where most pesticide sprays are not labeled for houseplants unless you take them outside spray them down, allow it to dry, then bring it back in the house. Mostly, I think part of that's for the odor and the overspray in the home.
Oh.
But, any of those, use with caution, use with common sense. Try to use it in a small scale area first before you spray everything. I talked to a lady the other day, actually, who sprayed using neem. Neem is an organic pest control fungicide, miticide. If you overmix these things, they can cause damage. You use them during the wrong time of day. If it's hot and sunny, you can cause problems. She sprayed her citrus tree down because she had some curling leaves. It defoliated her citrus tree.
Oh, not good.
Not good.
Better to have leaves that are curly than no leaves at all.
Then have all the leaves drop off within a week.
And you have another phone call?
Sure.
Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I have some questions on the tomato plants.
Okay.
And I bought the tomato plants about three and a half weeks ago at the box store. And,
right.
They were like the 8-inch high, 6-inch
right.
high. And I have them in 7-gallon pots.
Okay.
And I'd used a good garden, jungle garden or whatever, potting soil.
Okay.
And they're growing like tremendous. And the one has the 2 tomatoes on that are the size of a little bit bigger than golf balls.
Okay.
And it's got the leaf coming, or a stem coming up off the top of that's about 6 inches high, and it doesn't seem to go any further. And it has a few leaves on it. And it has 4 more blossoms on. But they seem like they're turning a little brown, and I don't know if they're going to make it. I was wondering what the percentage of, like if you have 100 blooms on a tomato plant, do they all come out, or 50%?
It's not going to be all of them, that's for sure. That it would just, I don't think the plant would be able to sustain that. If you just planted those a few weeks ago, it's possible that those first fruits were already on the plant when you bought them.
Correct.
Okay, and these next ones, it could be it's trying to get itself established, so it can't nourish those flowers there. Initially, and so those ones may drop off. I would say most tomato plants, you're probably getting about a 75 to 85% flower set, fruit set on them.
Yeah.
So it's usually, pretty normal to have some of them just not make it. It may be that you may want to take a look and see if there's not some insects around on there that are getting to those flowers. You may need to do a little spray when you see, once your flowers, or before you get some more flowers on there.
I do.
Don't like to spray the flower area if bees are present, but you can do like an insecticidal soap in the early evening. Usually I always say the 7 to 7, from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. is a good time to put insecticides down because the beneficials are not present.
Okay, and I have another question on that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Miracle Grow tomato plant food, which is like the green powder.
Okay, the liquids, the stuff that makes the liquid?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a 18-18-21 with minors in it.
Right.
And
it doesn't have much minors in it. If it's the blue stuff, like the stuff you just take a scoopful, put it in the watering can?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that doesn't usually have too much other stuff in it.
Oh, no, it's red, actually red.
Okay. But it's still usually doesn't have a whole lot in it unless they've changed the formula.
Yeah, it's got copper, iron, magnesium, zinc. I guess that's about it.
And no calcium.
No.
Nope. They can't bind calcium in that.
Okay. And it didn't say anything on here if that was suitable to be using if they're in a container rather than in the ground.
Actually, that's probably the better place to use it, would be in a container than in the ground.
Oh, okay.
Because in the ground, soon as you turn your irrigation on, that's washing away. At least in a container, it will hold it for a little bit longer period of time. I'm not a fan of liquid fertilizers.
Yeah, I know.
I like them when I initially put them in. That's great. Maybe occasionally, but a granulated one. And actually, same company makes an extended release tomato fertilizer that contains calcium.
Okay.
So it is more complete. It's expensive, but it's one that does have the calcium, and it feeds it for 3 months. So who needs to spend, you don't have to go out there every week or every 2 weeks mixing up a jug of the liquid or putting it in the hose end sprayer, because you're really, per plant, you're needing to put at least about a quart of liquid every time of that.
Okay, what kind of fertilizer was that?
But on the granulated one, it's a slow release. It's a 3-month.
Okay,
it's made by, it's a Miracle Grow.
Oh.
It's their tomato and vegetable shake and feed kind of thing, but
Okay.
it's one that happens to have calcium in it. Job's makes one that has calcium in it. There's a couple of them, and they feed for an extended period, so you're not constantly out there having to feed. Now, if you'd have put this fertilizer in a couple weeks ago when you first planted them, gave them a drink of the liquid stuff, and then we had all this rain this week, hitting them with a little bit of a liquid fertilizer is not going to hurt them. It probably would benefit them a little bit, and it would not be considered over-fertilizing because you did get a lot of rain in between, and given something that's going to be a quick-acting, because that's what liquid fertilizers are, quick-acting. They're not extended feed. It's a quick feed. You have to be careful using them. You're better off putting yourself on a schedule if you're going to use them, because you can cause like a fruit split if you stop using it for 3 or 4 weeks and then give them a good dose of it. That quick uptake of fertilizer, that quick uptake of nutrition could actually cause that fruit to grow a little too fast, splitting the skins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And one last question.
Yeah.
The sun.
Yeah.
I have them in a area where they get the sun from the east in the morning until about 2 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Should I move them to where they got full all-day sun?
Right now they would probably prefer having at least 6 hours a day. Now, 6 to 8 hours is a better sunlight for them. Yeah.
Later on, when it gets hot,
when it starts, maybe next month or so, if your plants are still looking good, you might want to scoot them back to where it's more like 6 hours of sun, and that way the plants may produce for a little bit longer period of time.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
all the help.
Well, you're welcome.
Right, you all have a good day. Right, bye-bye.
Thanks.
And the phone lines are open if you would like to call Carol Ann. The number is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-WOCA. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Are you there?
Nobody there?
I don't hear anybody.
No, nobody's there. It was ringing, but...
Oh, well.
It happens
They
sometimes.
couldn't hold,
It
right.
happens more often lately. I don't know what it is.
Well, people just, they
cool
can't
weather.
hold or whatever. Get something going on. Do want to do a reminder, because last week we did have Paul James on, and we were talking about National Public Gardens Day, which is coming up this Friday, which coincides Mother's Day weekend kind of thing. So, though we don't have a participating public garden around here, might still be a good time to, grab a picnic lunch, grab mom or the mother or your children, however your
I thought you were going to say
girlfriend
have your choice.
Well, if somebody's wife is or somebody's husband's overseas and she's got kids at home, take her to and go take in a public garden or just Silver Springs, Kanapaha Garden in Gainesville, Rainbow Springs. All of those are beautiful places to
You're
go.
not kidding, yeah.
And just pack your picnic lunch and go enjoy a public garden this weekend.
And we're celebrating the 500th anniversary of Spanish coming here, and the name Florida comes from them.
Right.
Because it means what?
It's
the land of flowers or something?
Right.
The land of flowers. And you do have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning.
Yes.
Rob Murphy there. I have a simple question, trying to solve a bet here between myself and my girlfriend. Is it okay to put coffee grounds on the plants? She throws the whole filter and everything out in her azaleas, and I tell her she's crazy.
Well, no, the coffee grounds are great out there in the garden, but now I would take and shred up the coffee filter and kind of bury it underground and spread the grounds out, just not just dumping them.
Right.
But that's fine. The azaleas, roses love them. Sago palms love them. You can, again, here's one of those home remedy kind of things that you can actually rebrew those used grounds, save that weaker coffee, and give houseplants a drink with it. You don't do it every week, but you can use that also on your plants, as well as then scattering the grounds under the plants.
It'll sort of wake up the plants, right? Get it?
Yes, it'll wake them up. A little boost there in the morning. But no, it's good for them.
Okay, she wins.
Yeah, she wins.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I saw the she wins coming part. I saw that.
Well, hey, at least he admits
Wish
that
your first
wins.
breath, yeah. Well, I was only questioning the filter.
Right, the filter will break down. It's just usually better if you can tear that up a little bit and then stuff it up, stick it under the ground so it'll rot.
I guess so.
It's something else that you can put into the compost.
Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Caroline.
Yeah.
This is Dennis. I remember talking to you maybe a couple of weeks ago. I told you that my pepper plants was getting all wilty and everything.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is, but it's like they've completely outgrown that. There's a couple of wilted leaves are still there, but all of the new stuff.
Stuff is looking good.
Whatever it was is gone.
Mine too, and I had done, and I don't know if I had mentioned it. I had done a little research there on that because I was thinking it was the little leaf virus.
Yeah, I remember hearing you talk about that.
And the more I looked at that, the more I'm going, no, it's not. And I think what it was is that cool time in March. You and I, because I had the same problem. And we both had container-grown peppers, and I think it was the colder weather where we're uncovering the cool nights, the cool days, and now that it is a little more consistently warm, that they do seem to be growing right out of it.
Yeah, but that's not really the reason that I called, but I just wanted to mention that. I also am growing in containers 3 daddle pepper plants that my relatives in St. Augustine gave me because they grow real good up there.
Oh yeah,
and they're growing really good down here. And my question is, there's so many like smaller, lower branches. This thing's growing like not straight up, but like bigger round,
like a bush.
Yeah. And should I trim off any of the bottom? They're so thick down there that I can't even see the dirt. I didn't know if I should trim off any of the lower branches at all.
You could. I mean, I don't think it's really that necessary. You could, because we know peppers are perennials. They are, a longer-lived plant. So just shaping that a little bit might do it a little better. I always get a little concerned. Peppers can get a sun scald once it starts getting hot or when they're out there in the full sun if there's not enough leaf canopy. Even though the daddle pepper is smaller, usually tucks up in there pretty well. If it seems like you can't get underneath there to get to, be able to get the water inside the container or anything.
Yes, it's almost to that point.
Yeah, I probably would just get in there and snip off, say maybe the smaller ones. You're going to kind of tree form it, but that won't hurt anything.
Oh, another thing that I'm always experimenting, playing around and passing this stuff on to you.
Right.
A lot of the plants that I have are going to need support, some kind of sticks.
Right.
And where do you get stuff like that? Well, I kind of solved that problem, and I thought I'd pass it on to you. There's a place where I ride my bike out in the forest that's got some palmettos that have very long, straight.
Yes.
The stick.
Right.
Right. And I took some snippers and I snipped them off up close to the base, and then cut the leafy part off of it. And then, of course, they got a saw-tooth edge on them. You got to take your knife and take that off because, that's real sharp. But these things, they wound up being almost 3 feet long, and I cut a little bit of notch in them so that I can put a little tie thing so it won't slide down.
Right.
And so here it is, free plant stakes.
Oh, yeah.
Made from palmettos.
Right. And a lot of folks will have them in the neighborhood, or you even have your own palmettos right in your yard.
But there's the ones that's usually around in, most people's house and everything, that they're not long enough. The ones that if you go way out, away from other places,
right,
where there are really a whole lot of palmettos, you'll get a lot of big, long, straight ones.
Right.
And that has worked excellent for tying up my plants. So
sure.
Readily available and free.
And free. There you go.
Hard to beat that.
And they'll last for the season, and usually by the end of the season, they're probably pretty well rotted. You break them up a little more and throw them in the compost pile. Another thing you can do, too, if you don't have any yourself, is somebody in the neighborhood's probably got bamboo.
Yes.
Yeah, there's bamboo all different places. You go and
right here.
and harvest
and it lasts
something.
a long time.
And that'll last quite a while.
Yeah, where it's in the ground will go bad. You have to snip it off and you lose a little bit. But yeah, that's good free. The nice thing with that is to cut it and let it dry so that it becomes rigid.
Becomes becomes more stiff and cut them and lay them in the garage, nice and flat, and then you've got a nice nice recycled piece of material.
I enjoy your show. Thank you for your
Thanks.
information.
And it looks like you have another phone call, Caroline. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I was wanting to find out. I have vegetables in containers.
Okay.
And I went out and looked yesterday, and every one of the plants have lines all over the leaves, such as like a snail trail. But I looked, and I don't see any.
It's not a snail trail.
No, and I'm wondering, I don't see any bugs under the leaves, on top of the leaves. I don't see any.
It's a leaf miner.
A leaf miner. Okay, so that's going back to the same gentleman that had that issue with pepper plants.
Not exactly, because the leaf miner is actually, it is an insect. It's a very small moth /fly /moth. I'm not exactly sure what the pest is, that lays an egg that really, you can't really notice it. The immature larvae hatches and tunnels through, feeding on the inner surfaces of the leaf, exits the leaf, and the cycle goes on. Most of that really, unless it's a severe problem, is cosmetic.
Okay.
It's not something we have to worry so much about. You can spray with an organic pesticide or a general pesticide that's labeled for use on edibles, on your produce, to try to kill the adult.
Okay.
There's nothing, once it's inside that layer of leaf, you can't kill it unless you happen to catch that it's still in there and you smushed it, but you won't know it's in there.
Right.
Because he's just too little. But if it's just a couple of leaves, you can pluck those leaves off and get rid of them. Most plants can still survive and produce with the loss of up to 30% of the plant material.
Okay. And what do you suggest for stink bugs?
Oh, they're tough. If it gets real bad, if you can't just get out there and knock them into carry a jar with some water and a little bit of soap in it so that it breaks that surface tension and knock them off in there, you may need to resort to a spray, whether or not you want to use a permethrin or pyrethrin, the 7, which is your carbaryl. Any of those will probably knock them back, but if you want to try first, I wouldn't. The soaps I don't think are going to get you much success because they are hard shelled. They have an ectoskeleton that makes this. Soaps attack soft body pests. You have to step it up in order to get to those hard-bodied ones.
That was last year, so I'm preempting for just in case for this year.
Right. Just keep an eye out. Sometimes if you get out there early morning when it's still cool, you can knock them out with a brick and or a couple pieces of wood in your gloves, and just squish or knock them. Like I said, knocking them into a jar with some water and some soap in it. To not, that way they can't get back out of it.
That's kind of like the black grasshoppers with the pretty colors.
Yeah, well, those ones you can kill with some of the sprays. Again, it's stepping it up the bigger they get.
Right. Okie dokie, thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate all the info.
Thanks.
Caroline, we need to take a little break.
Quick break.
Your show, of course, is brought to you in part by
Black Cow Manure and mature manure.
If you're looking at the video streaming, you see a facsimile of a bag. There's not really a bag sitting in front of you, although it looks like it on the camera.
It looks like the bag. It's the label.
We'll take a little break and be right back. If you have a question or just want to chat with Caroline, the phone number is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. You'll be on hold for about 2 minutes if you call right now.
Are you still fertilizing flowers and vegetables the old-fashioned way? Then switch to Dynamite.
Dynamite Complete Plant Food. The secret to more flowers, bigger blooms, and more vegetables is consistent feeding. Dynamite Complete Plant Food has a unique protective coating that releases nutrition consistently, so there are no highs and lows. Dynamite is complete nutrition. It contains the micronutrients plants need in small quantities for maximum growth. With Dynamite, you get an explosion of color, flowers, and vegetables. Dynamite comes in a handy shake and feed plastic bottle. Just one application will last up to 6 months. For more flowers, bigger blooms, and more vegetables, try Dynamite today. Visit our website and learn more about the science behind the modern, long-lasting way to feed your flowers and vegetables at dynamiteplantfood.com. Dynamite Complete Plant Food.
It is true that the smartest listeners listen to The Source, WOCA. And it's also true that the luckiest listeners tune into The Source. Or maybe lucky and smart go hand in hand.
I make my own luck. So do I.
Linda is a smart listener and also a lucky listener.
Hello, Linda. This is Larry at WOCA.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
You are the winner of 2 3-day passes to Walt Disney World.
Isn't that funny? I cannot believe that. I can't believe I won, you know? Cool. That is so exciting. Yeah, that's really great. I'm excited.
You never know what prizes will be given away on WOCA The Source, but every smart listener knows that you make your own luck by keeping your dial set on Ocala's first news talk and entertainment station, 96.3 FM and 1370 AM, WOCA The Source.
I make my own luck. So do I.
He makes his own luck. You make your own garden. It's 24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's rejoin Carol Ann Baldwin, and you've got a garden, and Carol Ann, you've got a phone call.
Great.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning.
Good
morning, everybody. First of all, Carolyn, I hope you feel better.
I feel fine. I just sound funny.
Oh, no, you don't sound funny.
Okay.
Question regarding if you have a large area of clay in your yard and you're having a tree planted, what would you recommend? You dig the hole, and what would you recommend to do after that?
To try to break that clay up, I would probably get some sand and get somebody, if you can, or yourself, to get some sand mixed in, try to break that clay up. Because that clay will interfere with drainage, and it will also interfere somewhat with the root development of where the roots can go. Is it deep? Is the clay deep, or is it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, over 4 feet down. I mean, if somebody dug a hole, is it going to be just 2 feet under the surface, or is it?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be a hole 4 feet down.
Oh, okay. So it would. How big's the pot you're putting, or the tree?
It's one of those big burlap rooted ones.
Oh, okay. So that's a good size. That's a good size tree you're putting in. Yeah, when the hole is if you're hitting the clay in that area initially, or you've hit it before in that area, digging having a decent sized hole dug in, I would probably be mixing some sand into that or some peat, anything to try to break that clay up. If it takes getting a rototiller down in the ground somehow to try to break that clay up, because it will keep that soil wet under there. Your drainage will be an issue. Excuse me. Plus your root development will also be affected by the barrier of clay.
And what is if a tree is planted, and then you water it, and there's the water accumulates in the little basin area, and then there's all bubbles coming up. Is that a bad sign, Carol Ann?
When you're first doing it, you might need to be putting as the tree is being backfilled in, of watering that to where that dirt that you're putting back in is actually getting in around that root ball. It's air pockets is what that is. Or there could be, I mean, if you've ever taken and, say you've accidentally let a houseplant get too dry, so you take it and you stick it in the sink and you fill it way up to where it's covering the top of that plant, you'll see air bubbles come out of that. Well, you didn't just transplant it, but it's just there's a lot of air in there between the pot side and the root ball. So again, it's an air pocket or air pockets. Some of them may just be small. When you're backfilling, to use the hose or the handle end of the shovel or some other thing in order to pack that soil down into that in and around that root ball is going is the best way to help to eliminate that. But as you're backfilling, wetting that thoroughly to soak that to get rid of the air pockets, because over time you may find that you end up with a low spot right near the tree where the soil finally got down in there. It could have a little bit of an adverse effect if it's not if it's serious air pocket.
Well, this is like a week later of watering, and it's air pockets or air bubbles are still coming up.
Are still coming up. I would probably take the butt end of the shovel or something, and how you do you packing it down, up and down and with the handle and jamming the dirt down in the ground.
Right. Of course, that could damage the roots, correct?
Not really. No, that's not going to do anything really. It's it's not the sharp end. You just go, taking the butt end of it and let if your foot's not gonna fit between the side of the hole and the root ball. Is that the area where you're getting the air pockets? Is between the root ball and the side of where the hole was dug?
No, actually, they're coming up near the trunk and all over. Actually,
well, it's probably not really much of anything. It could just be that there is some air, which there should be air, in that soil. And if it goes down, if it looks like it's doing, if it's transplanting all right, if you didn't run out of soil when you were putting it back in, if you still had enough, if you had too much soil left over, I'd be shoving some more of it back in there and seeing what you can do to try to pack more down around that root ball.
Yeah. Okay. And it's also not level. You see where, one side tips down, of the root ball. One side is higher than the other.
Just because of the lay of the land or the way it was planted? So it was probably that there's a lack of soil under one side of that tree. That the hole was not dug in a balance, or that when they tipped that down in there, some of that soil fell off and not enough pushed back up underneath there. It was just backfilled on top of it instead of taking it and going a little further. If you had a professional plant it, I would call them and ask them to come back out. That's all you can. That's all you can really do is ask them to come see if it's settling in correctly.
Right.
Especially if they offer any type of warranty to their work, I would be mentioning it to them right away. Don't let the tree try to get established and begin to decline when they could come out, send a couple guys out, go, oh wow, look at that, that's something happened here, pull it up, fix it, and get the tree established.
Right. Even if it was put in, if it came in on the straps and the machine, they can still dig around it and pull it back up, right, and do it the right way.
It was on a tree spade? Or it was using a forklift?
It like a forklift thing, and then lowered.
They may be able to do something with it. I would ask. It doesn't cost you anything to ask. See what they can do.
Oh, sure. I mean, after going through a big
it's
procedure like this,
and it's quite an expense. These aren't free. It's not like it's not like it's a $20 tree from a big box store that you put in with got the neighbor guy to help you dig a hole and throw it in the ground. It's that's an expense.
Right, and you're hoping you're getting what you pay for, but
right.
Well, Okay. Well, again, thank you for all of your expertise.
Oh, you're welcome.
And vitamin C yourself. Just take a bath of vitamin C.
Oh, well, that's why I'm taking the Airborne. It's got a lot of vitamin C and a lot of other herbs in it.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, stay well.
Oh, yeah.
You too, Larry.
I'm trying my best.
Okay. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, we have another phone call. Good morning, you're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, with my big oak tree's gone and the soil was prepared, I put the grass seed down. Finally, after 3 weeks, I got these little guys coming up.
Got some green stuff.
Got some green. Forever. I thought, my God, it said on the package between 7 and 3 weeks, 7 days and 3 weeks, and it went the whole 3 weeks, you know. And what happened sometime in between the earlier stages there, we had a little bit of a heavy downpour shower,
right.
And it kind of washed the seeds a little bit because as I see yours are coming up now, I got a couple of spots that are a little on the thin
that
side.
That are thin and some thicker areas in another spot. Yeah.
Can I reseed that now, or should I wait for the grass to get more mature?
I would go ahead and throw some more seed on it. That way it'll get a chance to hopefully catch up. When it's time to mow, it'll all be, a little bit closer. Yeah. Or that you'll be able to throw a little fertilizer or something on it, by midsummer.
Yeah, that starter fertilizer I've been using. The thing is, I won't be able to rake it in because I would probably be wrecking a lot of the little blades.
Right.
You know?
I would just put it in there and just maybe take the hose.
Okay.
And just hose it down into the top part of the soil.
Okay.
That should be enough to do it. Or you might even take a little bit of sand.
Yeah.
And just throw a little sand on top of it.
Oh, okay.
You could probably even put that in like a whirly gig. I'm not sure how big the area is.
Yeah.
But if you've got, throwing your seed down with that, then throw some sand in your whirly gig and shoot it out there.
Yeah.
And that way it would get the... Robin's climbing all over furniture. I would get it covered in there.
Yeah.
Without disturbing the other. And it probably would even help that newer grass to finish getting established. Like you said, it got washed away and it might have been trying to make roots as, when that heavy rain came and then the rain all last week.
Yeah. When you start seeding like that, could you put burlap or something down to help prevent that washout?
To cover it, yes, you could.
Yeah.
You could, yeah.
Because that in the past has always was a problem, and I actually ended up in a lot of places going to sod because I just got washed out all the time.
Right. Trying to get it down and then suddenly have a storm come up. Is, one of our issues here with the early spring. Yeah, you could have put some burlap down, but now that you've got some of that small grass coming up, I wouldn't. That. Right, because it would probably choke out the other. Yeah. So I would do the sand.
Yeah, okay. I went with the Pensacola Bahia.
Okay.
Because it says it's kind of like drought resistant a little bit.
Well, they both are. The only difference between the Pensacola that, to me, is a detriment over the Argentine is the seed head height.
Yeah.
The Pensacola has a taller seed head.
Yeah.
So you see it more frequently, but if it's in the backyard or if it's in an area that it doesn't really matter, it's not a big difference. That and the $10 or $20 on a bucket.
Yeah.
In price.
Yeah. When you buy fertilizer and it says for Bermuda, can you use that on Bahia? Or
is it just a fertilizer?
Yeah, I looked at the bags and I can't find any bag of fertilizer that just says Bahia.
No,
because it says all these other grasses.
Yeah, most of our grass. Well, probably because they don't. I don't know why they don't consider Bahia grass. What is it, like a 1608?
Oh, I don't. It's the Scott's brand,
Like just a turf builder or something like that?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
That you can do. Yeah. The biggest issues is when you're looking for your weed control.
Okay.
And Bahia is not a picky turf on fertilizer. The only ones that are kind of picky is like centipede.
Oh, okay.
Centipede doesn't like a whole lot of nitrogen in the fertilizer. But if it's, and I want to say turf builder is probably like a 2408 or whatever. But any of the fertilizers out there that are just lawn fertilizer should be okay for it.
Use, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, bye now.
Bye-bye.
And I think you have another phone call. Good morning. Oh, no, I guess not.
Not this time.
All right. If you would like to call and you don't know the number, here it is. It's the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-WOCA.
And I just want to make a reminder of anybody who might be interested in becoming a Master Gardener, coming up on May the 29th. So that's 3 weeks and a day away, is the Master Gardener class orientation. If you're interested, it is from 10 to noon. It's not just come in and sit for a few minutes. It is a 2-hour session because they will go through and tell you everything, give you the full breakdown of what it entails to become a Master Gardener, because it's not just a quick course. It's I want to say it's about a 13-week, it might be a little longer now, course. Pretty well, I'll say a decent college level course, maybe lower to middle level. I don't know if too many people have actually ever failed the course. Maybe one, and they had been out sick several times, so you can't miss too many classes. The class itself will run from August, end of August, the 21st, through November 20th, from 9 to 4, and I want to say that's a Wednesday each week. It's 1 day a week on those days, and class size is limited. If you're interested to go to the orientation, they will fill you in on everything you need to do. You will then fill out an application, get the application back to Extension by the 3rd of June. If you are selected as a Master Gardener, for the incoming class, the cost is $160, but that's your books and materials. Basically, the course itself is free. You're paying for your field trips and your other items. And this is for folks who might be interested. If you want to learn more, we all came into it. As far as I know, there wasn't an unselfish idea going in. I want to know more. Once you got in, it's I want to share what I know. And that's sort of where you come from on that. And it's a lot of fun if anybody's got some interest in that.
And by the way, in a little while, I will ask a trivia question. We'll give away a $20 gift certificate to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery, just so you know that.
Super.
Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Good morning. My name is Val, and I've got some raised bed gardens.
Okay.
And I got some beautiful squash, yellow squash coming in until I pick them up and the bottom is eaten, and they're eaten by, it looks like snails, those little round things about the size of a pencil eraser.
Right. Yep.
How do I get rid of those?
How do you get rid of them? There's a couple different ways you can go. You can try. First, you can mulch up underneath those plants to get them up off the ground, get the squash themselves up. If you've got some pine straw, you can use oak leaves. You can buy commercially packaged mulch and put underneath the plants, and that'll help to keep them up off the ground. You can try, if you would like, to make a beer trap, and that would be taking an empty butter tub. I'm thinking you're probably going to need one of the larger ones with a lid, and you cut about 4 windows from the top down, about an inch or so wide, an inch deep, and then dig a hole in your garden up to the bottom of those windows. Put you some beer, about an inch or so in the bottom. You can throw you a piece of that squash in there. That'll actually attract them in there. Put the lid on it and let it go, and they will go into that for the beer, for the squash scent, and drowned. If you want to step it up just a little bit of something that is more effective, there are what they call slug and snail pellet baits. One is an organic that's made of iron phosphate. That one I recommend because it just breaks down to a fertilizer what the snails don't eat. You don't find dead, empty shells all over the place because it doesn't kill them that quickly, but it does kill them. The other one that's out there, there's your snail, snail geta and things like that, which contain a chemical that's methylaldehyde. Which
what was that? Snail geta?
Something like that, snail geta, or a slug and snail. It's a slug and snail bait. It's one. If you'll notice, it'll say it contains like methylaldehyde. It'll also have a warning label on the front of it that if you have pets that happen to wander through your garden, I would not recommend buying that one.
Okay, yeah, and I do catch my cats out there.
Yeah, because it's attractive to the pets. It has some sort of scent to it that is attractive to pets. Pets will consume it, and you will be going to the vet.
That's not
Yeah,
good.
so go with the iron phosphate. Natria has it. Bonide, I think, does one, or Safer. It's an iron phosphate that's into a bait form, a little pellet form. And you put these scatter it in little areas around in and amongst the plants.
All right, sounds good. I might try the beer, but I hate to waste the beer.
Yeah, that's usually better for after tending the garden in the day.
I agree. All right,
But
well,
yeah,
thanks very much.
try the mulch too to get them up. You can even use shredded paper just to get the bottom of the plants, get those fruit up off the ground. That's going to help.
Well, I'm going to go out and do that right now. Get them off the ground.
Yep, there you go.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, you ready for my trivia question?
Ready for the trivia question.
All right, now, it's sort of kind of real. I always try to make the trivia question related to something you said. Now, you said something earlier. You mentioned was it a fertilizer called centipede?
No, that's a grass called centipede.
A grass, what's it called?
The grass is centipede.
Oh, the grass is centipede. Okay.
Right.
So I know there's an insect, right?
That's called a centipede also, right.
All right, so now I guess we all know that a centipede does not necessarily have 100 legs.
Right.
And a millipede doesn't necessarily have
a million legs.
Million or 1,000, whatever
Right.
milli means. But what is the actual difference between a centipede and a millipede? And it has to do with the legs. It's interesting. I never knew this. So if you know the answer to this, give us a call. Well, besides the shape of the body, but there's something about the legs.
Their legs.
And I'll give you even a better clue. There's something about the number of legs that is different between the centipede and the millipede, and it has nothing to do with the total number. It's an interesting little difference. Good morning. Do you know?
Well, I have an idea. It could be the number of legs per section.
Oh, you are right on target. That's good enough for me. Yes. It says here a centipede has one pair of legs per segment. In other words, two legs. And a millipede has 4 legs, 2 pairs.
2 pair
per segment.
Per segment.
Yeah, very good. Who's this?
This is Grady.
Grady, you got $20 for Bob Wine's Community Gardens and Nursery.
Wow, appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
I got some sago palms, and I want to get rid of them. How badly or how hard is it to dig the root ball up or so forth to get rid of those sago palms?
They shouldn't be too hard if you're looking to get rid of them. Just dig around there, and if you can put a chain and a tractor, and just pull them out.
Okay. Now, what if I want to just cut them down and bore holes in them and put Roundup or something in there?
Roundup's probably not going to kill them.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you could try to do like the stump remover stuff. If you cut them off and drilled it and tried to do the stump remover, the accelerator, that might work.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, you knew the answer too quick, Carolina. you think you have something that nobody knows, and it's amazing what people know, right?
All those funny little things.
Before they invented Google, we had callers.
Yeah. Well, before they invented Google, we had all kinds of books and all the rest of it. But luckily, I've stuffed enough of that book inside my head, I think.
Yeah, well, good for you.
That's it, yeah.
That doesn't happen for me.
No, and it doesn't happen too often either. I did want to give one little quick thing, if we've got 1 second, is upcoming.
3 minutes.
Wow, we got tons of time. Upcoming, the county extension is going to have a clinic on canning and freezing that overabundance of produce that you're growing in your home garden. It is May 31st, which is a Friday, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You do have to pre-register because space is extremely limited on that. You must register by the 21st. And you can call over there at 671-8400 and tell Miss Donna in there that you want to sign up for the freezing and canning clinic, and they will tell you how to safely preserve what you've grown. And that's, we're always talking about having your own fresh produce year round. And
I'm curious, has technology changed that, or are we still doing it the same way?
It's, I think, pretty much the same way. I think there are some technological changes because you can get the vacuum seal kits that will put them in plastic and remove all the oxygen from that before we put it in the freezer. But your canning techniques are pretty much, I think, same, just maybe a little bit more modernized.
Yeah, we have one. We'll squeeze in one final phone call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. I've got a question for you about some oak trees.
Some oak trees?
I just recently moved into a house that had live oak and water oak.
Okay.
And the previous owner really didn't do too much to take care of anything. There was a couple of them that were diseased. Long story short, a couple of them came down.
Right.
But I'm noticing there's surface roots everywhere, and all the little pop-ups are coming all over the place.
Right.
I don't really want to destroy the lawn, but they're kind of taking over the lawn. I've tried cutting some of them with my edger just to cut them and try and pull them up. It's not an acorn thing. It's roots with pop-ups on them. What do I do to fix that?
I would probably, because these are the trees that are down, that are gone.
Yes, and the stump was ground.
Okay, the only thing I was thinking possibly would be a brush killer, but not one that contains glyphosate. You're looking for the triclopyr. Basically, you want the pure triclopyr. You can take and mix that and put it in a spray bottle and just go and spray that. Some of it is already a premix that you could go and just spray those little water sprouts or the little root sprouts that are coming up. And it shouldn't. The reason I say strictly the triclopyr is because it doesn't normally hurt our grasses, where the glyphosate would.
All right. Now, I do have one tree that's still growing, and it, too, has the same issues with the surface thing.
Right.
Will that hurt the
I would, if it's on the surface ones, I'd be on the living trees, I'd be real careful with it. I'm not sure if I would recommend doing it around that one.
Okay. Ones, so other than getting out with a hoe for that one and cutting them up
knocking those off, right. Yeah.
Okay.
But the ones, at least the ones on the ones away that are from the down trees, the old trees, you can get rid of them. And you might make sure that they are not the ones from those other trees. Make sure you're not going to accidentally.
That one's in the backyard, and this is in the front yard.
Oh, okay.
So that's okay. Yeah, I know this one's good to go.
Okay.
Alrighty, well, it just sounds like I got a lot of hard work in front of me.
Right. Well, at least the ones in the back, you can spray with the brush killer with just the simple triclopyr in there.
Triclopyr. Okay, things I need to write down and remember.
There you go.
Thank you so much. You guys have an awesome show.
Thanks.
Awesome show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, good show.
Yeah, it was another good one. Down
one question after another today.
It's always fun.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Larry.
Take care of that allergy.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
All right, we'll be right back.
I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. FBI investigator Stephen Anthony says now that 3 missing Ohio women have been found alive after about 10 years in captivity in Cleveland, the healing can now begin. He called the 3 the ultimate definition of survival and perseverance and added, yes, law enforcement officials do cry. Police are now sorting through 10 years of logistical information and searching the Cleveland home to process the crime scene and build a case against the 3 men they've arrested, all brothers. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says he didn't tell anybody about his February lat band surgery until now because he thought people would mistakenly believe he did it to prepare for a presidential run. He says he did it so he could be there for his family. Schools searching for ways to reduce violence may want to encourage team sports. A study found adults who played sports as children were less likely to get into physical fights or carry guns. A man who claims he was the fan who stormed the state